Amsterdam calling. So pick up.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Amsterdam Calling, where alles is lief, leuk and lekker. I'm your host, Damn Jerry, and I just want to thank you all for the tremendous support and the amount of comments that everyone gave me from my last I Love Netherlands video, which was a part 1, and it is encouraging me now to do a part 2. I have 4 more topics that I want to share with you. So without further ado, here is part 2 of why I love the Netherlands. Another reason why I love the Netherlands is that the Dutch believe in government. They believe that paying taxes are necessary to receive services that will benefit them, such as infrastructure, roads. You need to pay for that. So there are taxes needed to be paid, that they actually believe that paying taxes, they personally will benefit. Not only will they actually maybe use these services, but it is peace of mind, it's insurance, it's security. In other words, it makes them happier knowing that they can feel secure, knowing that they have this sort of safety net system. I mean, we're talking about, not only are we talking about affordable health care, affordable housing, I mean, disability, unemployment. I mean, mothers, when they have children, they get medical assistance and home care. And all of this provides a big safety net for the public. And you sort of compare that with the United States. I mean, just look at, well, I'll say this. Look at the highways here, for example. I mean, they're all concrete, they're all shiny, they're all new. You have beautiful lighting, you have these windscreens to protect, you know, the people and the neighbors from the sound of the cars. I mean, I was back in Los Angeles just this last fall. And on just 2 of the freeways there, one, the 405, the same construction in the same spot has been going on for 20 years. And then further along on another highway, the 101, it's sort of like, you know, the middle barriers are all broken up. I mean, they can't even paint the straight lines, you know, to partition the lanes, or all over like this. I mean, literally, it looks like Mexico sometimes has better roads than they do in the U.S., and that is because the U.S. has cut back on infrastructure spending. And this is a result of Americans over the last, I don't know how many decades, have been taught to believe that their taxes do not benefit them. Okay, the right-leaning party has sort of come up with this moniker for the left-wing party called the Tax and Spend Party. And the Tax and Spend basically says they are going to ensure that the government is going to take money from you and give it to less deserving people. Your hard-earned money that you worked hard for is going to be taken away from you and given to people that don't deserve it. So this is sort of been ingrained in the American brain for the last 40 or 50 years, and it has had a pronounced effect of people just don't believe that taxes are going to benefit them. So just go back to California. Recently, you know how people are leaving California. They think, oh, such high tax rates in the state. They're not seeing any benefit from it. They want to leave, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things they complain about is the homeless. And the homeless problem is horrible. But if you go back to the last century, the result of this is because they cut taxes. And when they cut taxes, they had to close a lot of the state-run mental institutions. So where are these people going to go? They're going to go out onto the streets. So in a sense, they have created their own problem by cutting taxes. So in the U.S., unfortunately, they just don't believe that taxes are going to benefit them. So anyway, the proof is in the pudding here in Europe. I mean, you don't really hear about this much in the U.S., but you know, there's this thing called the happiness index, and every year, I don't know, some company or different companies do a survey about which countries are the happiest. And every year, the top, I don't know 10 or 15 countries are usually, I mean, the Netherlands is always included, and it's always like the Northern European countries, the Scandinavian countries, Canada, Australia. And these are the countries that, pay taxes or pay higher taxes, but they have a wider safety net for the general public. And that financial security translates into happiness. And it's something that the Americans, for some reason, have not been able to figure out or grasp. And thank God the Dutch do, and I love it. The Dutch work to live as opposed to the US, where they live to work. And having a life outside of work is very important to Dutch people. Hobbies, spending more time with their kids, traveling more. They really cherish their time away from work. Vacation time, as a comparison. Here in Holland, the average amount of vacation time is 4 weeks per person, paid vacation time. Now compare that to the US, where you're lucky to get 2 weeks. I mean, the Dutch also feel that, vacation time there are benefits to having a longer vacation time, because you're going to come back, you're going to be more productive rather than being tired and burnt out. So also the work week. The work week is similar to a normal work week in the US. Here it's about 36 to 40 hours. The difference is the bosses adhere to it. It is these hours are taken very seriously. You work between those hours, and when your time is done, 5 or 6 o'clock, or whatever it is, you go home. There is very little overtime. Yes, if there is some overtime when needed, and you're paid for it. But for the most part, workers are not asked to work past these normal 8 or 9 hour days that they have here. Now compare that with the United States, where, in some industries, 60 hours is the norm. 12 hours a day is the norm. Sometimes they are paid for it, or sometimes people work on a flat rate. They work on a day rate. You get paid per day and not paid by the hour. Also, part-time work is more common here in the Netherlands, and more flexible hours. More of a balance between maybe working from home or working in the office. I think that is more common here also than in the US. The video is going to continue in a few seconds, but first a quick reminder to please like this video if you like what you see, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube Amsterdam Calling channel for more wonderful Amsterdam and Netherlands videos. When I first started coming here in the Netherlands, it was common for businesses to close after 6 o'clock, or let's say stores to close after 5 or 6 o'clock during the week, and not even be open on the weekends unless it was tourist related, where they know they're going to get tourists on the weekends as well. And I think it was maybe IKEA sort of started this notion about, okay, maybe we'll open up like one Sunday a month and see how it goes. And I think that even required like government permission to do so, and I think when they did, some people liked it, of course, because it was convenient, but there was a lot of outcry. Oh my God, how can you make your workers work on a Sunday, and all of this, and, coming from the US, where, this was already normal. In fact, I grew up working in retail and working in stores, and I loved to work on the weekends because I was paid more. I think I got paid time and a half on a Saturday, and I got double time on Sunday. So that was my choice. And I didn't realize, here's the Netherlands, this country about, okay, personal freedom, individualism, and all of this. Why are they limiting people to sort of, work only during the week and not on the weekends, and stopping people from having the convenience of shopping on the weekends and all this sort of thing? I thought, well, can't people just do what they want to do? But I think it was sort of from a labor standpoint. I think it's sort of like they didn't want to force, workers to sort of give up sort of their free time, to work extra hours, in the evenings or on the weekends. And that's sort of, I think, how this sort of started. And another way to look at it, which I sort of, I didn't really understand this in the beginning, but I sort of was talking to a friend of mine who had an internship in Germany, when we were in college. And one of the things he observed was it was sort of like the days of rest, the Saturday and Sunday and the evenings, was sort of a way, but besides, I guess, religious wise, I guess because of the church and holy days and sort of that, Sunday's the day of rest, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday, et cetera, it was that these days sort of were designed to stop the machine. And when I say the machine is what is this machine? And it's sort of like it's sort of like work, shop, work, shop, work, shop. It's sort of like you work, make more money, spend more money to keep this sort of like, the wheel going, the machine going. And it's very prevalent in America. It's sort of like work more hours, make more money, work, have less time, but then the time that you do have, you spend money, you go to stores, you spend a lot of money, and that is just sort of, taken for granted. That is just the lifestyle. When you live in America, you just don't see it sort of differently. And again, I think here, because of the emphasis on rest, it's sort of like, okay, that's not only just good for your body and your mind, but it just sort of stops the machine, And I think because in America, there's just so much over capitalism and hyper capitalism, and it's just work, shop, work, shop, work, shop. America is open for business 24 hours a day. The machine doesn't stop. And I think in Europe, they sort of have this concept of, okay, the machine just needs to stop. We all just need to rest, not do anything, and, and rejuvenate or whatever. Unfortunately, the influence of America or big business is catching up here in Holland. Things are now open on weekends. Supermarkets, stores are open on the weekends, are open in the evenings. But at least it's not as bad as it is in the U.S. There's no doubt that over-consumerism is out of control in the U.S. I mean, for example, I went back this was about 5 or 6 years ago during Christmas time. I was staying with a friend who just loves Christmas. So he loves to shop and do all the traditional things that you do around Christmas time. And I went with him to Costco. And, I'm sure Costco is sort of like Tesco that they have here, a place where you can buy everything from food to TVs, in bulk. It's supposedly for, cheaper prices. And there, it was just nuts. Everybody was just filling their shopping carts, TVs, tablets. My friend was even buying like Google Home and all this electronic stuff. I mean, there had to have been at least $1,000 in everybody's worth of stuff in everybody's card. And I just thought, first of all, how are these people paying for all this? How can they afford it? And why? Why do people need this stuff or need to give it away or give people this stuff? You just, when you're there, you don't think about it, of course. It's just part of the culture. But when you're away from it, and you're living a life that is different than that, and you go back, you really see it. And one of the things is, how can they afford this? I mean, I make, decent money, and, maybe I'm spending my money on other things, but I'm just thinking, I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend on Christmas gifts. And then it sort of dawned on me, I mean, it's credit. People in the U.S. are addicted to credit and debt. I mean, look, they have the normal things like mortgages and even here in Holland, they have the usual things like mortgages or even car loans and student loans and all of that. But here in Holland, they just don't have the credit card debt that they do in America. And I looked this up. The average American per year has a debt of $6,000 on their credit card. So here it is. Here's the machine again. Sort of like you work, you make more money, you work more, but you're also now spending more. Work, shop, spend. Oops, sorry, I don't have enough money. Well, I'll just put it on my credit card. And now you're in debt more. So now you have to work more. And it's just this sort of machine that sort of happens. And unfortunately, here in Holland, I am seeing more ads for Visa and MasterCard. And I'm like, oh God, the evil has crept in. And it's like, Dutchies, please resist at all costs. Don't do it. But hey, it's coming. And unfortunately, I think, it's probably going to happen here as well. But at least for the time being, there's a lot less reliance on debt here than in America. And that is why I love the Netherlands. Maybe you agreed with some of the topics that I presented. Maybe you don't. And in either case, why don't you leave a comment below? I hope to be coming out with more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I'm going to be traveling around the Netherlands for the rest of the summer as well, making videos of other towns. This is Damn Jerry, and I hope all of your days are lief, leuk en lekker. Love the Netherlands. Tot de volgende keer.